Hi there, this is John Hyman from Commercial Real Estate Online. Welcome to the program. This is the show where we like to share plenty of information relating to commercial real estate brokerage around the world. The website to contact us is commercial-realestate-training.com. Now in today's program, we're going to focus down into the most important way to build your real estate business over time, and that is in making cold calls directly to the right people in the right way. So grab a coffee, come back with your notebook and listen to the program. Make sure that you cover off on all the issues and build your cold call momentum in your real estate business. That is the best way to get traction in commercial real estate today. Here is the audio. I'll catch you at the other end. Now, here is a topic which frustrates quite a lot of people. It's a plan for cold calling. Most agents know that they have to make calls, but they simply struggle with the whole concept for many different reasons. In saying that though, the whole cold calling concept is the best way to grow your real estate business fast and also with some quality. So if you're looking to get anywhere in the business over the next year or so, think about your call momentum, what you're doing, what you're not doing, and how you can improve that. And in today's program, I'd like to talk about the whole aspect of making those cold calls and how you can be improving them over time. Don't struggle in your real estate business. There's absolutely no need to. It is simply a matter of understanding what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you can improve your call conversations and connect with more people. Understand this one fact. You don't have to pitch your services over the phone. That is not what it's about. You are simply making calls to understand if someone wants help, whether they have a future need in commercial real estate, and of course, if you can provide them with information. That is it. And if they say no, they're not interested, good. Don't waste your time anymore. Move on. That's the simple rule. Don't struggle with people who really don't want to talk about real estate or don't want to talk to you, that sort of thing. There's plenty of people in the local property market for you to engage with across the telephone. And today, I'll help you understand that. So, in commercial real estate brokerage, the telephone is the most valuable tool to use in growing your real estate business. Now, why is that? There are easy connections to be made and systems of call contact to be developed with local people. And you can do that yourself without too much thinking. It just takes organization. So what are the facts? How do those facts apply to you? Unfortunately, most agents and brokers don't devote enough time and or the right tactics to the call process, which then leads to personal struggles and fluctuations in brokerage sales and leasing, getting the listings, building the client list, all of that sort of thing. And of course, that is not good. So it can be fixed with a bit of skill development and also focus. So let's look at that. All agents and brokers should have a plan of cold calling that is tuned to perfection over time. And it takes time. It's not going to happen over a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It happens every day, incrementally. So you are actually improving each day with what you did yesterday. And over time, maybe a few weeks, a few months, but certainly over the 6 months and through the year, you're going to find business that you haven't even thought about before. Soon the listings and the transactions get a good degree easier when it comes to activity, locating them, that sort of thing. They get easier because you're establishing a pipeline of fresh listing stock and clients to serve. You're finding people before other agents find them. Momentum and commitment are focus points to build any cold calling system of prospecting. I go back to the point that it's a very personal thing, and certainly it is. Does this seem an attractive outcome in your real estate business? That is, plenty of listings, more clients, conversations. If it is, think about this one statement. You are making calls not to pitch on the telephone. That's not what it is. It is simply a question to understand if the person you're talking to has a property need or a future need, and maybe you can connect with them again or meet with them as appropriate. So here is a plan to make cold calling a central part of any brokerage business, and particularly yours. Number 1, know why you will be making the calls. That's a very specific thing. It's important that you have a clear understanding of why you are connecting with the other people. In saying that, the reason should be from the client's perspective. So you can talk about things to them, about their needs, their property use, their property future, their investments, that sort of thing. It's all about them. It's not about you. Please focus in that way as you make those call conversations. It's about them. And of course, if the person doesn't want to talk about it, great, move on. Remember that you don't need to waste your time with some people, and that's just fine. Number 2, determine the property types you will be talking about. For example, you are a specialist in a location, a territory, a property type, perhaps retail, warehouse, industrial, perhaps office, that sort of thing. Maybe it's a neighbourhood shopping centre. Maybe you know a lot about leasing, perhaps, whatever it is, sales or leasing, the property types, that sort of thing. Focus into your speciality and create conversations within your speciality. So that focus on certain property types or solutions allows you to drill down on any information and certainly into the call conversation. Information is a powerful factor of engagement in making lots of calls. Now, the connections that you make are about the other people and their needs. For example, not your requirements of listings and commissions. Whilst you might like that, that's not the reason for your call. So remove that from your head. The reason you're making the calls is to understand if they have needs, pressure points, challenges, targets maybe, relating to commercial real estate in their business, perhaps in their investments, or maybe in the future of what they're thinking about. Now, when you change your focus or mindset, the calls get a lot easier. That's the rule. That's the way it happens. Number 3, create a list of people that are to be called as part of your contact plan, and that's a daily event. Be targeting specific people, the right people to connect with. Now, they might be investors, they might be business owners. Indeed, those two groups of people are the separate sides of the same real estate coin. One side are the investors, the other side are the business owners, because those groups play in the market and you can help both of them. Remember that they both perhaps own, occupy property. Commercial real estate in your location. That's what it's all about. So you're making a list of these people. You're doing that each night so that when you get to the office the next day, you are into your contact plan and you're making lots of calls. Not a few, but a lot. And don't hang up on the problem of entering the data into the database as you go. That is a gross waste of time. Simply get a simple call sheet that you can write the information down on as you talk to the person. So at the end of all your calls, you might have 10 or 20 or 15 call sheets to write into your database at the end of the day. So a call sheet and a pencil is the most effective way of keeping up your call momentum. In that way, you can probably get one call done every 2 minutes. That means in 1 hour, you're making 30 calls. And that's probably 25 calls more than what you made yesterday. Think about it. Be target specific in finding the right people to connect with. That allows you to talk to those specific people in definite ways. And of course, to give you a better chance of conversion with the right people as they are thinking about their property challenges. Point number 4, lock in a time of day to do the calls. Habit development is a key component of making calls, certainly the call contact process, the cold calling contact process. It is necessary to make about 2 to 3 hours of calls every working day. Now that is an enormous challenge for some people, simply because they can't get the momentum up. So I go back to my comment I made a moment ago, and that was don't hang up yourself and stop your momentum by entering data into your database as you go. That's not the way to do it. Do your research the night before, have your call list ready, and then use a simple template of information that you can write onto as you talk to people. That allows you to write as you're conversing, then put the piece of paper aside to enter it into the database later. It's that simple. That will allow you to get a reasonable amount of traction and momentum up when it comes to making calls in your real estate business. Now think about the 2 or 3 hours that you need to devote to this call process. I did say that it was a habit, and that is a fact. The habit needs to build in your real estate day. It's not a random thing that you do when you have time. That's not how it works. Because when you think about it, it is building your business that is the most important part of what you're doing every day. Sure, you've got deals to do, clients to talk to, I get that. But at the top of the list is always the new listings that you need. That is a pipeline. That is a conversation process, and that is cold calling. Perhaps you shouldn't even call it cold calling. Perhaps you should call it warm calling. You're being connecting. You're being warm in your conversation. You're simply asking questions of if you can help the person. Remember the two groups that you're talking to? The investors, that is the property owners, but also the business leaders, because they can own or occupy property locally, and that's where you can help. So number 5, another thing to think about. Set up a basic script. By basic, I mean just a simple set of 2 or 3 sentences. And we provide this particular series of sentences to our friends online. It's just a very simple process to get your call contacts underway. Use something simple. Design it for yourself. You're not pitching. Remember that. It is not a pitch. You only need a few sentences to get a conversation started. And indeed, those few sentences will allow you to understand if the person needs to talk, wants to talk, or wants you to go away. And if they don't want to talk, fine, you move on. Beyond the initial connection, the call conversation should flow with some direction, providing the person is interested in commercial real estate, occupancy, investment, purchase, selling, that sort of thing. And your initial questions can help you understand that. And if you're designing a few sentences to work with this in your real estate business, recognize that the sentences should be natural for you, not some deep crafted script that you picked up from some book. It doesn't need to be like that. It should be a simple script that is professional and respectful. When the other person knows that you're not pitching and you are respectful and you are professional, they will likely talk with you. Of course, you can practice your few sentences every day, and that works as well. Refine it over time. So number 6, what are the key questions to ask? Be prepared for your questions and the potential questions that could be directed back to you as part of connecting with local people. What will they say to you? What will they ask you? Could they ask you about other properties in the local area? Could they ask you about rents? Maybe the change in investments? Maybe the yields, the prices? What will they ask you? Be prepared for that, because a conversation and your ability to enter into a conversation is driven from information. Any awareness of prices, rents and listings will help you with answering questions and going further into the conversation. Number 7, focus on real estate qualification first and then meetings later. So the call should actually be about real estate qualification. You don't want to meet with someone simply for the sake of meeting with them. If they don't have an interest, why would you want to meet with them? It's a waste of your time. If you're getting a good number of calls underway, then that qualification process in the calls will allow you to understand if a meeting is worthwhile or maybe sensible. And that's a good word, by the way, sensible. Having a sensible meeting for the right reasons, for your reasons, but also for the reasons of the other person. Know that the person has a real need or an interest in commercial property in the future. That's office, industrial or retail. Need or an interest. That could be in leasing, it could be in selling, it could be in buying. There is no point in meeting a person that has little need or control or ability to act in property matters. Qualification is then an essential part of your approach to local people in the conversation, be they investors, business owners or tenants. So in your simple opening statement, if you find out that the other person does have an interest in commercial real estate, ask more questions. That's where the qualification kicks in. Simply understand their position, whether they are thinking about it, maybe they need to do it in the future, maybe they've got some questions in their head right now about what prices are doing, rents are doing, maybe other properties and the availability of other properties in the location. Qualification is then a part of the calling process. Now, number 8. This is quite important as well. Now, track your call progress and call plenty of people to get a directional plan. Now, calling plenty of people, I go back to that statement I made earlier. If you're using a piece of paper and a pencil to write down your responses in the calls, then from maybe 50 or 60 calls over 2 hours, you'll have 15 to 20 pieces of paper and probably 2 or 3 meetings a day. That's how it works. You're not going to write down the result of every call conversation if someone doesn't want to talk to you. That is a waste of your time. So you write down the things that relate to people who have an interest or the conversation in the property matter goes a bit further. When you know your call numbers, you can get results and refine your call skills over time. So what are you tracking? You're tracking the number of calls out. Now that would be over a period of 2 hours, that would be say 30 calls an hour. That would relate to 60 calls over 2 hours, maybe 3 hours to take that call process as well. So in 3 hours, 60 calls, a great number of calls. You're not going to talk to everybody in that time frame. It just won't work. But you will get through to maybe 20 to 25 people. Of those 20 to 25 people, you'll have maybe 10 to 15 people who have an interest in commercial real estate. You'll write that information down. Later today, at the end of the day, you'll put that into your database. Now, I go back to the point that the practice in your call conversation, your simple introductory sentences will help your call results. So practice what you do. Track your numbers. Calls out, calls connected, and then discussions relating to commercial real estate turning into meetings. I gave you some numbers. I said, well, in 2 hours, maybe 60 calls. I said maybe 15 to 20 people that you'll connect with. That's good. And of those 15 to 20 people, maybe there's 2 or 3 meetings that you create. Think about that. 2 or 3 meetings per day with new people that you have not connected with before. Isn't that an amazing opportunity to build your business over time? Of course it is. So point number 9. This is perhaps the leverage point that is not respected or implemented by many agents. However, it works very well. So let's look at it. Point number 9 is repeat the contact process over a 60 to 90 day cycle. Now, this means that when you connect with someone and they show a property interest, whether you meet with them or not is not a big point initially. Certainly you'll be meeting with them if they have something that they want to talk about. But if you've connected with them and they don't need to meet with you now, fine. And then you connect with them again every 60 to 90 days. You create another connect point, which will probably be another telephone call. Maybe it's dropping in a business card. Maybe it's leaving property information. Maybe it's sending a letter. Maybe it's sending an email. But make sure you're talking to them somehow once every 60 to 90 days, because that is the A-class connection process when it comes to winning business. It is the call contact conversation. It's a conversation. That is the A-class way of winning business. Nothing else matters. Everything else is B-class. What are the B-class things? Well, I could put social media in that, but I probably call social media C-class. So what's the B-class? Emails, certainly. Letters are B-class unless you ring the people up. So when you ring the people up after sending a letter, it becomes A-class. So think about what you're doing. I said the A-class contact process is talking to people. Talking shows professionalism, shows the ability to converse. The ability to converse will allow you to find out if the person has a need or an interest into the future. So that is the most powerful way of creating and growing your market share in sales and leasing brokerage over time. Also property management as well, but in a different way, because property management is driven not from deals, but from the property managements held over time. It's a different thing, but it still works to a 90-day cycle. So who are you calling every 60 to 90 days? Investors and business owners. That's it. Organisation is required, of course. That requires some sort of list, be it a spreadsheet or something that you're using, maybe a database. I could say here that the database should be reserved to qualified people that have a definite need or an interest into the future. I would then say that before they go into your database, you need something else as a buffer, simply to allow you to talk to people over and over again before they become truly qualified people. So what do you use to keep organized in that respect? So maybe you use an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, that's all right. Or maybe you use an Access database program from Microsoft Access. It's very good as a simple way of creating a very simple and direct way of capturing data. It's very easy to do, by the way, and if you don't know how to use Microsoft Access, then check out the internet because there's plenty of videos there to show you how to use it. So, talk to the same local people over and over again. That is the investors and the business owners. That is those people that have a potential future need or an interest in commercial property, office, industrial, or retail. Help them remember you as the agent of choice or the specialist for the location. And a conversation will always allow you to send something to them, meet with them, send them an email, a letter, maybe a simple business card. It's a way of stepping forward. And in commercial real estate, success is driven from a number of small steps forward. Track the conversations created in a simple database. And remember my comments about using Microsoft Access or perhaps using a spreadsheet, whatever's good for you, whatever you're comfortable with. But I would certainly recommend Microsoft Access. If you've got the Microsoft suite of programs in your computer, then Access is probably going to be sitting there. You may not know how to use it. So if that's the case, simply check out the internet and YouTube over a cup of coffee or 2 or 3, and you'll understand how to use it. Because Microsoft Access actually keeps your data more organized and perhaps even safer than a spreadsheet. So in summary, I've mentioned a good number of things here for you, and perhaps you should be listening to this again. Consider these things. There's a lot to be said here about creating a database, gathering information, talking to people, creating conversations. If you haven't got this database up and running or don't know where to start, one of the simple and most flexible ways to get your list up and running is to use something like that Access or maybe even Zoho. Zoho's on the internet, and at this current point in time, Zoho, that's Z-O-H-O, the first level of Zoho is generally and typically free. Check it out. That's zoho.com. So there are many different ways for you to get organized, to create momentum in talking to people and building your business over time. Don't be scared of the phone. Understand the challenge, build the habit, use the telephone as a professional business tool, because that is exactly what it is. Most agents avoid talking to new people because they simply don't like the process. Guess what? Isn't that an amazing business advantage for those agents that can do the conversations, create the new contacts, and do it every day? So, in closing on this point, there's a lot of different things here for you to think about and disciplines to create. Listen to this particular program over and over again. Challenge yourself to the new habits. When it comes to growing your business, challenge yourself. Be prepared to do the hard things, the difficult things, the unusual things that other agents won't do. Because indeed, 75% of other agents in the market are typically generic and ordinary. They don't challenge themselves. They wait for the big market, the really active market to come along where they make lots of money. But guess what? The top agents in the market are making plenty of money, plenty of commissions, plenty of listings with top clients throughout all markets at all times. That's where you should be. Check it out, get started, and away you go. And so that was the program for today. Plenty of things to think about there relating to making cold calls in your real estate business. That is what it's all about. Cold calls generate more leads and opportunities over time. It's a discipline, it's a habit, it's something that you can do in your real estate day. Now, don't forget to visit our website because we're always loading resources there relating to commercial real estate around the world. Sales, leasing, or property management, office, industrial, or retail. And in this changing property market, you need ideas, you need momentum, you need resources. So that's what the website is there for. So this is John Hyman signing off for now. I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Don't forget the website, commercial-realestate-training.com. Catch you soon.